All right, Percy, fire away.
Coach, it was 45-37 at halftime, and then in that third quarter, you guys held them to 34-13, and 4:15 from the fourth. Just what happened at halftime? What was the message, and how did they execute?
The message was whose adjustment is going to be greater. And, we talked about in the shoot around, those two games are the same. And the third quarter, the previous game, we put our foot on the gas. And that was a sentiment to know that, Dallas was going to be more aggressive, which they were to start the game, 20 points in the first quarter. But that we need to stay sharp, locked in, focused, disciplined, all those synonyms. And I thought that the team responded in a great way.
And then just in these past four games, just how has kind of Jordan sort of like made herself like synonymous with this defense, or just really become like a key component of this defense?
She's able to take on certain matchups that we've, had difficulties with, in her length, her athleticism, her athletic ability. But, I talk about the preparation, her watching film, her scout, her understanding tendencies in the reps that she got last year helps a lot. But her ability to disrupt and not have to always bring multiple people. She's a very good one-on-one defender, and that helps our defense a ton.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, you got to give a lot of players who don't necessarily normally play big minutes some minutes in the fourth quarter. How important and just beneficial is it to be able to give those players, particularly Nika and Kiana, who may not see the same minutes that Joyner, Sammy, and Sadie see, to get on the floor and play against Dallas?
I'll flip that and I'll say I think it's important for games like this for our group who gets a lot of minutes to rest a little bit. But to your question, it is valuable. The reps that we can get during the games because we don't have a lot of practice time. Both Kiana and Nika have been very good in, shoot around situations when we do have practice. They're pros. Kiana, to me, has stepped up, from drafting her to now. She's grown a lot. And she does other things for us. If you look at her on the bench, she's always talking. She's right next to me. Like, she is very smart. And for those players to get the reps matter because they come few and far between with a tight schedule like this.
And then just a little bit more on Jordan. Arike looked even more frustrated today than she did on Saturday. Can you just talk about sort of her performance today and what she did that maybe frustrated Arike so much?
We didn't change too much. Wanted to be a little bit more aggressive on Arike, but we didn't have to be, honestly, because I think her physicality, she was playing into space. We actually did adjust a little bit. I thought some of our coverages weren't as sharp. Jordan looked at the film. We looked at the film as a team, and those coverages were way better today. And it kept Arike more toward the sideline than, getting busy in the middle of the floor. And just, again, the preparation, asking questions to her teammates, and us as a staff with the scout, and her want to. She wanted to make sure that Arike had a tough night.
Coach, Jordan and Jewel were in here previously, and they both, Jewel was talking about how this is a very athletic team and a very smart team. And talking about their defensive versatility as a coach, how have you liked how versatile this team can be, whether it is multiple players being able to guard multiple different positions?
Yeah, you have to play defense in this league if you want to get some wins and find some success. The thing is, it allows us to play a variety of different ways. You can be physical. We can play with pace. We can play, in transition defense. I think we've done an excellent job this year of limiting a lot of teams' transition points because we're loaded up with our length and all of that. And I think the biggest thing, too, is the communication level, having Neko on the floor, Ezzy's growth as a defender. We talked about them being the eyes the other day. But the individual ability to just mano-y-mano sometimes and match up, it matters when you're trying to have a consistent level of defensive intensity. And I think the last thing I'll say is that there is so much buy-in on that side of the floor because everyone is aware of everyone else's talent and what we can do there.
And then just build off of what Bella talked about with some of the bench players getting minutes. Joyner Holmes is someone who can, keeping with the versatile as well, who can do a lot. Seen her pass the ball well. She hit a big few shots in the fourth tonight. What have you liked from Joyner since, bringing her back to this roster this year?
Her versatility, you just go back to honestly training camp and how she came here in shape. She's familiar with the system now. We didn't have a whole training camp with her last year, though our training camp was short. I think having her day one really helped her confidence, her understanding of our systems. I think, there's still a level that Joyner can't get to as it relates to being sharp on both ends of the floor, but she can play make. She's athletic. She can rebound. She can defend multiple positions. And when she's playing instinctually or instinctive, whatever the word can be, I think she's better.
Coach, obviously with back-to-back games, it's all about adjustments. I thought you guys did a great job adjusting to defending Tierra McCowan. Only had 5 points until really late into the game. What do you specifically like about the adjustments you made on her?
I think one thing that came into play was them starting Odyssey, and we knew that that aggressive level for the guard may take a couple of those looks away from McCowan. But to start the game, we were better on the ball with pressuring. NECA was off a little bit the first game of Tosh, and we adjusted to that in that first game, but also we started that way this year. So a lot of those post entries were a little bit more pressure, difficult, harder to see. And then I thought Ezzy did a better job of trying to stay in front and not get buried underneath. And it was a team effort in that way.
And probably Natasha Howard, I think, probably had the best game for them on the other end. What did you see out of her?
Because we were, loaded. She does what she does as far as just playing well in space, cutting. When we're kind of in our rotations to her talent of, using her footwork, sometimes traveling, but neither here nor there. And her athleticism. And then, on the backside, she got a 3, I think 1 3 today. Yeah, only one. It didn't hurt us, but just her ability to play in space and be a hooper, honestly, play with her instincts. Yeah.
Hey, Coach, thanks for the time. Could you just talk a little bit about what Jewel brings to this team as a scorer? And she's put up 30, 30, 26 tonight. What does that mean to this team? What does it bring?
Yeah, it helps us tremendously. We talk about how well we're playing on the defensive end when we can consistently, be efficient in our offensive attack. She's leading the way, her aggressive level, her hitting those threes, and also her playmaking. I feel like the last few games as well, and her ball screen reads have been amazing in my opinion. So we need her to score, we need her to be efficient. And I think she's in a great pocket right now, playing confidently, playing freely, and hopefully we could get some more 30-point games.
Could you just talk a little bit about the atmosphere here? You guys have won 8 straight. You have 5 more to go. How important is that? And what can you take from that into these next 5?
Yeah, game by game, day by day. We're trying to stack days and grow, be a little bit better than the day before. And being at home helps. We talk about the comfort in that, but also the efficiency in being at home, getting treatment, sleeping in your own bed, home cooked meals, probably all those great things that come with being at home. But our team is very aware what the stretch is before the break. And, we're playing at a high level in front of our fans and that feeding off the atmosphere, which helps. But also we're playing some really good basketball. And at almost approaching the halfway mark, it's imperative that we continue to take steps forward.
Let's take a question from Christian on Zoom. Christian, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. After the win over Connecticut, it was kind of a real physical, rugged-tugged game. That's kind of expected, Connecticut brand of ball. But then you come into these 2 Dallas games, and in the first game, every player that shot at least, I believe, around 42% from the field. And then in this game, 8 players took at least 6 shots, and they all shot around 42%. So knowing that all of this is being fueled from the defense, like earlier in the season, you weren't really worried about the offense. You were worried about the defense. But knowing that the team is performing now like this, how does that aid in your progression, knowing that you can kind of like lax off that a little bit?
Yeah, it's huge, especially knowing that a lot of that can come in transition. A lot of it is playing with pace and flow, and getting our paint points are at a high level. And if we can play simple, beautiful basketball, that definitely helps with what we can do on the defensive end. What I'm seeing is, taking good looks, sharing the ball, screening is good. Like the details of our offense are really coming together. And I talked about how it's going to take some time to get the chemistry, and I think that synergy is coming. We're finding ways to utilize each other, knowing what plays we like for each other, and again, that's continuing to fuel what we do. When we feel how it, Pokey always says, like, that's what it feels like. That's what it looks like. When we feel those reps like that on offense, I think it just gives us a boost of confidence.
Oh yeah.
It's funny you said the beautiful basketball part.
Mm-hmm. You're
Yeah, it's
welcome.
funny you said the beautiful basketball part, because that's kind of what Jordy just said before you came in, as far as like how offense has been flowing, that everybody's been passing the ball around the horn. And
Mm-hmm.
her progression itself and the way Jewel was kind of glowing at her, knowing that that's kind of been a big part of, coming from the last offseason where she didn't really have a full offseason come off of shoulder surgery. What have you seen as a growth as a player, but also as a person off the court in these last couple of games, defending some of the greats?
You said Jordan, right? Jordan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think, last year I've talked about it before. She started out the year guarding Asia Wilson, Stewie, Natasha Howard, because we played her at the 4. And then she finished the year guarding like a Kelsey Mitchell, Jackie Young. And so you saw the versatility, but you also saw the confidence level that she knew that she can have as it relates to trying to defend, these elite players in this league. This year, it is a direct correlation to the work that she's put in. And it's the off-season details of her working out, her shot, her efficiency around the rim came with that off-season work. And, it's hard to work on defense. You don't go into the gym and work on your individual defense. So the God-given talent that she has, she's utilizing it. She's grown so much off the floor. We talk about her being a professional and showing up for herself, for her teammates, and she's doing that. I've already talked about her accountability partner breathing rare air from NECA and Ezzy and understanding how to be elite at this level. She's really locked into that, and that's why you're seeing a difference in her approach.
And the last question to Joe? Nope.
Thank you.
That was it.
Jordan.
There you go. All right. 2 for 1. Thanks, Coach. We'll see you on Friday.